Welcome back to the Work-Life Balance Summit, Design a Faith-Filled Life. My name is Staci Witten, and today our special guest is Kathy Terrill. I'm so excited you're here, Kathy.
I am too.
And Kathy is from the wonderful city of New York. She is a professional actress. She also has a background with more than 25 years experience in brick and mortar retail and over 6 years as an on-air product presenter for QVC, the shopping channel. And Kathy definitely knows sales. I've already learned so much from her. She founded several popular groups on Facebook, which we'll talk about, including eBay Selling Basics for New Sellers. And also, from over 600,000 sellers, Kathy was selected by eBay to be the recipient of eBay's Small Business Advocate Award for 2017. She is definitely an eBay influencer. And Kathy is an in-demand speaker, private sales success, and a social media coach. Proven tips and classes for eBay sellers are available on her e-commerce site, which you'll see the link below. And it's called www.ilovetobeselling.com. I'm so excited you're here, Kathy.
Thanks so much, Staci. How are you? First of all, just to let people know, if you hear honking, it is not your imagination. Staci and I are getting together on a Friday afternoon, and I am in Midtown Manhattan, and it is rush hour. So if you hear honking, welcome to New York. It's like, yep, there we go. This is my home office. I mean, to me, I just tune it out. But if you hear it, that's what's going on.
Hey, that's awesome. I love New York.
I do too.
I just love it. The reason I was so excited to have you here, not only because I've learned so much from you, one of the reasons I've learned so much from you is because of our personal decluttering process that my husband and I are going through, and being able to get rid of what my in-laws thought were heirlooms, that we have inherited, and different items in our house, and being able to put those on eBay and start to declutter. I mean, you could accumulate a lot of stuff as an empty nester.
It's the truth for everybody. I mean, and that's the great thing about eBay is so handy, is whether you're in your 20s or your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, no matter what your age, no matter what your circumstances, we usually have stuff in our house that we're not using.
Mm-hmm.
Now, some of it might be, I've got it, I'm going to be using it next month, next quarter, especially, when you got kids growing, you might be buying clothes like in anticipation of them, the next size. But most of us is, the kids have outgrown X, Y, and Z, or sports equipment. Staci, like you, I have a lot of clients and a lot of sellers that I work with where they've inherited huge amounts of stuff. I mean, I have some people where they literally have a house full of stuff that they're getting rid of. And the thing is, there's a lot of different ways to do it. You can certainly donate if there is a charitable cause that you want to give to. There's absolutely, just put it in bags or have them come and get it, or, however you want to work it, to have it do it. But oftentimes when we inherit, or it's our own personal possessions, they're worth something. I mean, and they're worth just a few dollars. I mean, you have stuff where, people were collectors. They were collectors. I have one friend where they inherited, get this, over 1,000 dolls because their relative was a doll collector and was a very good doll collector. And these dolls were in pristine condition, beautiful dolls, and worth a lot of money. So why not sell them and make the money? They did have to do the research and learn about it. The relative had passed. And it took several years to sell the whole collection off, but you're talking thousands and thousands of dollars that they were able to make by selling them on eBay. And something like dolls, it's also good to sell on Etsy if it's vintage. Vintage needs to be over 20 years old, or if it's a craft supply. So let's say, for instance, you're a crafter, and let's say you have a lot of extra craft supplies that you're just not using. Maybe you bought something for a project and you just never got around to doing the project. Because sometimes it's, you're back in school, or there's more kids, or your kids are taking more time than you thought, or you get into gardening and you're not so into quilting anymore, and you have all these quilting supplies. Is Etsy, you can sell a craft supply. It does not need to be vintage, but crafts also does very well on eBay. So my rule of thumb is if an item is worth more than like $40, $50, if an item is really only worth like $5 or $10, because you have to think about this, you're going to need to photograph the item, this doesn't need to be an arduous process. I mean, you can use your cell phone to photograph items. My cell phone takes great pictures. So you're going to need to photograph the item. You're going to need to list it. And then once it's sold, you're going to need to pack it and ship it. So my rule of thumb is, you know, you want to make like $30, $40. But again, I have some sellers that I work with. I have a Facebook group for basic sellers called eBay Selling Basics, Nothing But Selling Basics. And you know this, Staci, for some families, and there might be people listening, $5 matters. So if you can sell something, and you do need to figure out, usually in most circumstances on eBay, your listing will be free because you get a certain amount of free listings. But you do have what's called a final value fee. And sometimes people forget about that. Same thing with Etsy. There is a final value fee. There's a fee that eBay or Etsy takes once it sells. If I remember correctly, Etsy's around, I can't remember, but it's less than eBay. eBay with the PayPal fee is around 14%. So when the item sells, you need to put that money aside because eBay is going to come for you, and so is Etsy. You need to figure out how much the postage is. You don't want to be giving things away. If it's under 16 ounces, which most clothing is, like shirts and tops, as long as it's not heavy like a sweater or a jacket, that's going to run you around $3 or $4. When things go over a pound, which would be like a winter coat, a jacket, a gown, if you're thinking of games, that kind of thing is definitely going over a pound, then you're getting into priority mail. And that can run you anywhere from like $7 up to like $20. If it's really heavy, it's going to run you more. So that's what I would say. If it's a really heavy item, like if it's a vacuum cleaner or something like that, you're usually better off to sell it locally, just because of the weight, and you're going to have to pack it. But, you know, clothing new with tags, kids' sports equipment, collectibles of any kind, and I mean any kind, stamps, coins, dolls, vintage clothing. I was looking at one seller. She was in the clothing industry in the 80s. And she has a cellar full of 80s vintage clothing new with tags.
Wow.
It's worth a fortune. I mean, they're going to have a blast selling that. And again, most people is, if you have the space, you know, so you list, if you're doing this casually, you list 3 or 4 things a week, maybe 5 or 6 things a week. This doesn't need to be an all-encompassing thing. But let's say you have a family vacation you want to take, or you have a project you want to paint your kitchen, or you want to redo the kids' room, or you want to do some kind of landscaping, and it's going to cost X amount of dollars. You can raise the money for that with selling stuff from eBay. Just go through your shoes. Come on, you know us with shoes. Shoes, pull out the shoes that you're not wearing, that you swore you were going to wear. Bags, handbags are huge sellers, especially if it's any kind of designer bag. Even if it has a little something wrong with it, if you just disclose it and say, you know what, there's a few little ink stains in the lining, make sure you take a picture. That doesn't show. Nobody sees that. I mean, I see it. Nobody else sees it because, you know, the only person that sees it is somebody going in the bag, and you'll still get nice money for that. So.
That's a great idea to go through accessories and things like that. If you have Coach or Michael Kors, all kinds.
Always pull the stuff that you're pretty sure is going to sell for more money, which is your designer stuff. If it's lesser price things, oftentimes if you put it in a lot, particularly for children's, I was helping one of my friends with some money for her family. And so she had a lot of children's clothing, and children's clothing is a tough sell if it's just 1 or 2 items, unless it's a high-end designer. If it is a high-end designer, you know, then you're going to be fine. But otherwise, you really need to put it into lots. But lots will sell if you put, you know, 20, 30 pieces of, but again, not big money. It's going to be like $20, maybe $30 with shipping included. But if a lot of it's new with tags, which particularly for younger kids clothing usually is, because they grow through the stuff so fast. If you've got toys that are still new in the box, you know, still new with tags, let's say you go to a great yard sale and you spot some really nice toys, you know, those are great. Get them listed, because people love to shop online and save a few dollars on toys for their kids. And don't forget the grandparents, because they are, especially in the summer, you have so much summer travel going on, Staci. You know this, where everybody's visiting everybody. So, you know, the grandparents, they've got all the kids coming, you know, for the annual visit, and they want to have the toys, you know, for the grandkids when they come. So Don't forget the grandkids. Grandparents love to buy for the grandkids.
That's
So,
a great
and
idea.
aunts and uncles. I mean, all of that is, it's not just the parent with children, it's all the extended family. And the summertime is such a big family visit time.
Hmm.
It's a great thing to do, but you name it. I mean, I've sold, oh, I wanted to mention too, parts. Sometimes with a home appliance, it's broken. I actually had this happen with a printer. The printer broke, but it was an expensive printer. And I got another one. So I went online. I was like, oh, let me, you know, because I was trying to get an idea of how much they would cost. The parts sell. I sold my broken printer
Wow.
because you have repairmen that are buying it, but then you also have people where it's broken, they just need that one piece, and they will buy the broken whatever it is online. This is true for coffee makers, you know, the little metal things that go in that the coffee cup goes on top of, the little frother attachment. I mean, you'd be surprised. You go, oh, this thing is broken, blah, blah, blah. No, you could just pull the parts off. Everything's fine. The filter, sell the filter. So sometimes when the unit itself would be sort of a pain to package, but if you pull it all apart and then just sell the pieces, and sometimes you make better money selling the pieces than you do selling it by itself. So I was like, yay.
That's a great idea. And I know that I've heard people buying car parts also, as well as
Absolutely.
cars.
eBay was, I think eBay was the first one to be selling cars. Yeah, I mean, you name it, it sells on eBay. Is the big thing is, you know, and not to overwhelm yourself. So, you know, go through the closet and maybe just do one part of your closet, just do the floor of the closet, or just do the right-hand part of the closet, or the left-hand part, or a shelf. Just pull everything off and then sort it. The stuff that you think is worth something, put that in a pile. The stuff that you don't think is worth so much, put that in another pile, because you're surprised. Some things are worth money. The stuff that you think is worth something, then you're going to jump onto eBay or Etsy, wherever you're planning on selling it, and search it. You look at it, you know, what is it? And just search it and see what the price is. If it's really low, like let's say it's, you know, $9.99 with shipping, that means you're making like $1. It's like, okay, the Goodwill is going to get that one. But you keep going through other things, you'll be surprised. Some things, because they're discontinued, the price has gone up. So you maybe only spent $10, but that's a hot print, and that print is no longer made. So people that love whatever designer that is will pay top dollar for it because they love it so much. So you know what I mean? And so you sort through, then you'll decide what you want to sell. And I'm offering a guide to people. So this will, you know, take notes and everything, but I'm also giving you a guide, and this has a lot of the information I'm telling you. You'll list it. And again, eBay for a non-store seller, which most people listening to this would be, is you get a certain amount of free listings every month. You list it, it's not costing you anything to list it, and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get a better price than you would at a yard sale. For me in Manhattan, a yard sale just isn't feasible. I mean, what am I going to do? Like stand in front of my building? But so for eBay is definitely the way to go. You list it, it sells. I'm a more experienced seller, so not only am I selling and shipping all across the United States, I ship globally. If you're comfortable with that, and global shipping has gotten a lot easier than it used to be years ago, because you can list internationally, and with the way eBay and Etsy are set up, is you can just print the label right from your printer. You don't need any kind of fancy printer, just a regular paper printer. You'll print the label, you just cut it, you do have to put your signature on it, then you tape it to the package. And for international, you do have to walk it to the post office or hand it to a postal employee. So you need to hand it to your mail carrier or drop it at your local post office. You cannot put international in the mailbox. But US, you can. So let's say you sell 1 or 2 things a week on eBay. You're like, yay. Let's say it's a blouse, it's a shirt. I'm looking around my house. It's a notebook. So that's easy. That can just go in, and I've got some supplies here. That can go in a padded mailer, right? I just take the notebook or the shirt or whatever, I put it in. I've got my label, comes off the printer, I put it on, I tape it, and that can go in a blue mailbox. So you can mail it at your post office, depending on your relationship with your mail carrier. You can leave it out for the mail carrier, just put it in your mailbox, you know, just fold it a little bit, stick it in the mailbox. I know in some areas they'll just come right up, you know, to the house and get it. Other people, it's just easier, like the post office is on their way to work or running errands, and they just drop it at the post office. And just selling stuff out of your house. I mean, most people have at least $300 worth of stuff in their house they can sell. Don't forget, I mean, we're talking now spring too. Don't forget home and garden. There's a lot of outdoor stuff. There's a lot of home decor. There's a lot of patio decor. I mean, placemats sell. One of my girlfriends cleaned out her kitchen cabinet. I mean, Corningwell, Corel, plates, glasses, all that stuff sells, depending on the make. Your appliances that you aren't using, because not everything is big and heavy and cumbersome, is if you're not really using it, it's like, my attitude is, why not get it to somebody who's going to get a use out of it? Exactly. That's what I like to think about. And I'm helping another family because a lot of these items, as we all know, are very expensive. Mm-hmm. If I was to buy a new, who's-he what's it for the kitchen, and if I was to go into a regular store, it would cost $200. But used, buying it on eBay, the average price is around $75, $80. I'm saving that family over $100. I'm making money because I'm not using this anymore. I'm getting it out of the house. What did I do? Oh, I just sold it was a big clothing steamer that I had gotten. And I have another smaller one. And I said, you know what? I'm really not using this. It was a shark steamer, big monster thing. And I went, I'm really not using this. I need to sell this and get it out of the house. And it came with a hanging thing. You could hang it so you could steam pants. It was a whole thing when I was traveling a lot more and you just wanted to, keep your clothes looking nice. So sometimes I'd be, steaming clothes before I'd be going off on a trip. And it took about 2 weeks to sell. Went to somebody in the South. In fact, I just got feedback on it last week. They were thrilled. Because brand new, I believe it's like around $80. And the going price on eBay was like $25, $30. So I think I ended up making like $10. But I said, you know what? I made $10. I got it out of the house. And I really blessed this woman with a wonderful product. So I was like, yay. So I'm like, get it out. You do oftentimes, like with that, you're making $10 on something. I forget how much I paid for it. But the going price is around $80 for it brand new. So it is a fraction of the price new. So sometimes you'll hold on to things because you'll go, oh, I paid $80 for this, or I paid like a bag. Let's say you bought a beautiful handbag and it was $250 when you bought it. Yeah. And you go on eBay and you find out used, because let me tell you, once the tags are clipped, it's used. Now it could be new without tags. If you truly bought that Michael Kors bag, and you clip the tags and you never took it out of the house, or maybe you wore it once, and I mean once. But for me, even if I use it once, I'm going to do used, but I'll say used, only used it once, because I don't want to mislead my customers. But let's say you bought it or you got it as a gift, you clip the tags and you never used it. So then it's new without tags. It's still less money than a new with tags. And if you've used it, so let's say I used it, I really love this bag, I used it. But you know what? Maybe I'm one of those people where I get a new Michael Kors bag every year. I don't want to wear the same bag year after year because there's people with different lifestyles. That bag new, let's say, is $250. Used, it's probably going to be more like $80, $90. But and then you're giving eBay a portion, you're doing shipping, but you're still making what, 50, maybe 50 on that. Is why not get the 50 and have the bag go to a new home rather than it sits on the shelf. Yeah. I'm looking at it. I never wear it. I never use it. It's just taking up space. It's like, my husband will say to me, sell it and get it out of the house. Right?
Yeah, that's so true. I'm sitting here going, oh, I have some stuff collecting dust that I need to do this for.
And again, you don't rush yourself. I mean, I literally over here, I have a pile of stuff. I sold one thing the other day, and I think it took me like 2 years before I got it listed. I was like, oops. You know what? It's just steady progress. The good news is with eBay and Etsy too, is you can list with their app. So if you've got a smartphone or have access to somebody's smartphone or a tablet, you don't even need a computer anymore to list. I mean, this whole electronic revolution going on. You literally can take a picture with your phone of the item, and with the eBay app, just upload it, write a description, title, boom, it is listed. It's amazing.
I'm fascinated by how you got into this business. And
Oh,
let me clarify something though.
yeah.
This is, you sell on eBay and
Mm-hmm.
you show people how to use eBay.
I sell and I coach. Yep. And the way I started, because you mentioned I was on QVC. I'm a professional actress, because people go, what is this actress doing on eBay? Professional actress, trained. I went to Northwestern University. I was trained on the classics. I'm doing Ibsen and Chekhov and all this great stuff. I landed on QVC actually as a favor for a friend. Loved it. It is around an 8-hour round trip commute from Manhattan, but loved it. It was on air. Right before that, I had done a lot of soap operas. I'd done some commercials. So I was very used to being on camera, presenting on camera. And for those of you who don't know, QVC is live television with about a 5-second delay. So it's good to know how to think on your feet. So anyway, I did that for about 6 years, running back and forth to the city. My husband's work is in the city. And my son was in the city. It's like my family was in the city. So I'm running back and forth. And my mom got sick. And my mother also had diabetes. So for anybody who has a relative with diabetes, they're going to know what I'm going to talk about, which is anytime somebody with diabetes pretty much gets anything, anything, especially when you're older, and mom was in her 70s, there's complications. Nothing is simple. Smallest little anything can flare into an infection. It can get incredibly dangerous. And people don't realize it. It just seems like they don't realize it. The diabetes makes everything much, much more dangerous. Also, it means anytime you go in the hospital, you're rarely there for 24 hours because they want to be very, very careful. So I would be on QVC. Mom would be going into the hospital because she had congestive heart failure. And it was challenging, especially because this is way before cell phones. So I'm getting messages through switchboards and I'm running back and forth with car services. So I said to my husband, I'm like, this isn't working. This isn't working. I need to be here. I need to take care of mom. And thankfully, I was in a position where, because of lifestyle choices that we had made, we'd always kept our overhead low. I was able to walk away from QVC, and they were great. I actually worked through a client that I worked for whose products were on QVC. I was not a QVC employee. So I was in the city taking care of mom, going to doctor's appointments, doing everything like that to take care of her. And I'm thinking, what on earth can I do? Because I want to contribute to the family finances. What can I do? Because I can't do any theater. I can't walk off a set, at 3 p.m. Oh, excuse me, my mother's sick. I need to leave now, because they won't like that. Even regular jobs, a little bit of that you can do, but not much. And mom was going in and out of the hospital almost on a weekly basis. Or, she was at home and all of a sudden things would happen and I'd have to run her to the doctor. So I literally just started selling things from around the house. I'm like, let me just downsize, you're finally home because you're not running back and forth to QVC. And I'm like, we have too much stuff. I need to get rid of some of this stuff. Living in Manhattan. This is all my inventory behind me as I'm speaking of all this stuff. So I just started selling things that I knew were worth money. And one thing in particular was Tiffany crystal candlesticks. I did really well because Tiffany crystal candlesticks are not $20 items, and they were in pristine condition. I had the original box. Oh, wow. They were in great shape. And it sold, and the person was ecstatic. And I went, oh, I could make money this way. So I'm taking care of mom. I continue to do that. And my mother eventually moved to the West Coast because it was better weather. And my 2 sisters live out there. But I continued to sell on eBay because I'm like, this is flexible. It's great money. I was still auditioning a lot, working a lot. I did Law and Order Special Victims. I did some movies and some other things. And then being an actress in New York, you run into ageism once you start to hit your 40s. So I said, you know what? I really like eBay. A lot of the skills that I have as a performer, I'm translating to my selling. Plus I had a huge retail background because I had always worked retail in between acting jobs. And then eBay selected me to do a couple of things for them. And then people came to me because I was doing really well as a seller and said, oh, can you help us with some stuff? And I was like, sure. So now I'm an e-commerce coach. I'm like, yay. And I write courses and everything, which is super, and guides, and do training videos, which is perfect. I did QVC for 6 years. I know how to go on camera. I wrote my scripts for my products on QVC, so I know how to write. And you know how it is, Staci? It's so interesting with life where, you're going down one path, you have one set of skills, and then you do this major pivot. It's like, whoa, because of values that you have and that your family has, and how God worked it out. Because let me tell you, when I was 17, 18, I was like this. I'm a New York actress. I'm going to get a Tony Award. That was my whole focus. Like, this is it. And I was like a serious theater actress. I wasn't like musical comedy. I was very serious, Shakespeare, that kind of thing. And ended up on QVC, not Shakespeare. Really found I liked it. Got a whole new set of skills.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you do learn, you learn a lot. And then from there to eBay, which I adore. And e-commerce is changing so rapidly. I mean, the fact that we're doing this, right?
Exactly. Oh my gosh.
The internet and social media and social selling and internet selling. I mean, every time you turn around, it like you can pick something up now in the store, back to my notebook, and you can shoot it with your phone and you can go on eBay. I'm pretty sure you can do it on Etsy too, but I know you can do it on eBay. It will scan the image and it will find you everything like that that's selling on eBay. It's called image recognition or picture recognition or something like that. And so you can like go, oh, I really like this eBay shirt. Take a picture of it, go on eBay, and they'll show you if there's one there. They'll show you the thing. You don't even need to like type in what it is anymore. It's amazing. And this kind of stuff is just changing. The virtual reality stuff. I mean, all that thing. And what's cool is, what, you do the best you can. And that's what I love with eBay is if you just want to make like a couple bucks a week and just get the stuff out of your house, you do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you find you really like it, because for a lot of women, men too, because I do work with male sellers, but for a lot of women, you're a stay-at-home mom. You're in a job that you're not really happy with, or you're in a job and you're just not making enough money for what your family needs. Or you want a job with more flexibility because you want to be home when your kids are getting home from school. You have a husband with special needs. You have children with special needs. You might have, like my situation, an elder relative. And we have so many we might have physical things. I have some sellers where they have physical limitations and they can't do a regular job because they can't sit for X amount of hours or they can't stand for X amount of hours. But when it's your home business, I mean, you can stand while you're on the computer, you can do whatever you want. It's whatever you want. Do you want to just sell part-time? Do you want to sell full-time? Do you want to sell full-time 6 figures? Because depending on what you want, then there's different roads you go down. But it's very much what you want. And also it can change. You can start very small, then you can scale it. Then you might have a life circumstance where you want to cut back a little bit. It's totally up to you. And you can do it anywhere in the United States, anywhere. You can Arizona, Washington, Oregon, Minnesota, Kansas, Texas, Maine. You can do eBay, Etsy, no matter where you are in the United States or the world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's global.
One thing that you said, as a career coach, I see this a lot. You've mentioned values. I think I work with both people that are in the corporate world and want to stay in the corporate world, and then also people that want to leave the corporate world and start their own business. And the first thing you have to look at is your values. And then you also look at your strengths and your talents and your natural God-given gifts.
Mm-hmm.
But you also look at your experience.
Yeah.
And if you took your life and developed a timeline of your experiences and see how much I'm serious, I got chills, and see how much you are using from skills you acquired 20, 30 years ago today.
And value, and for me, there were certain things that I wanted that changed. I was extremely work driven before I was married and when I was very, very young. And that's fine. I'd have no kids. I have no husband. Extremely career driven all through college. I was a very work oriented person. I had great friends. I love my friends, but I had real specific career goals. It's just the way I'm wired. And that changed and needs changed.
Well, I appreciate your time today. Will you share with us? I know you have a very special gift that you have created just for our viewers for the summit. You're kicking it off anyway with the viewers of our summit. And why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. It's ABCs of eBay selling. I went over a few of the things. And what I wanted to put down was just a very simple, easy to follow guide as far as Besides just going through your own closets, a couple different places to get free inventory, because especially when you're first selling, whether you're selling on eBay or Etsy, you really want to keep your costs down. So free is good. So I give you a couple ideas on that, things you probably haven't always thought of. Then a couple of basics for listing, because like anything is, it's great to get that pile of stuff you want listed, but you want to list it. So it's like, get it listed. Some tips on that. And then some tips on getting some free shipping supplies, because that's the other thing is, you've got your inventory, then you're going to get your listing done. And remember, the listing for the most part is free. It's not until it sells that you're going to owe eBay or Etsy any money. And then shipping supplies, which can be very easily gotten for free. And I give you a couple of ideas on that.
Great.
And that's it. And really at the beginning, because you can all day Googling things, but especially in the beginning is, I'm going to sound like Nike. Just do it.
Mm-hmm.
Take the blouse, take a picture, put the app on your phone, list it. Now something like a blouse is probably best in a poly mailer, which are those thin, hang on a second, I've got one floating around. Hang on, it's over here. Poly mailers. I have all my shipping supplies within reach of my desk. Poly mailer. Yeah. And these are, you've gotten stuff on this. It's because it's light. It's not that you can't put it, here's my bubble mailer. It's not that you can't put it in a bubble mailer. These you get like at office supplies. I'm sure Costco and places have them. Especially when you're starting, just get a couple. Don't go crazy.
Yeah.
Once you're selling and you want to sell, then buy them in lots of 40 and 50. Same thing with the poly mailers. Just buy a couple. Some places sell variety packs. That's good because you get different sizes. You can put dresses in these. You can put shirts in these. Kid stuff. But they're thick plastic. You don't want them too flimsy and cheap because it'll rip right through. But they're so light. Some of these are like an ounce. So, you put the blouse or the shirt or whatever, you just seal it and they're on their way. So, grab that. And then you're on your way. So you list it, you shoot it, you get the sale, you'll be like, yay. And the eBay app makes a cha-ching sound. So you'll be sitting there, you'll be at work and all of a sudden your phone goes cha-ching. You're like, oh no, what's going on?
That's
and
awesome.
Then you'll pack it and you'll ship it, and you'll have money. And then you get to decide what you want to do with it. Whatever household bills or special little projects you want to put in, and then keep going. It's such a great way to get the stuff out of our house. Again, it is sitting there staring at you and you are not using it. Get it going and create some money for you and your family.
That's awesome. I'm so excited about this. And I want to encourage everyone to download
ABCs of eBay selling
by clicking the link below. And then also visit Kathy's website at ilovetobeselling.com. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
I did.
Yep. Come on in. I've got a newsletter. You can message me through that if you've got questions saying, hey, I saw you on the webinar, and shoot me any questions you have.
Well, thank you so much, Kathy. I appreciate your time today. And like I said, everyone, click the links below to learn more and start just pulling little things out of your closet or off the shelf and just try it. It's pretty easy to do. But thanks again, Kathy. And
you're welcome.
We'll see everybody in the Facebook group.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.